Lero pano pa Pomwe television tikupaserani zimene yankhula nduna ya chilungamo cha ziko a Saulos pamene akupereka ma findings amene adapeza ma commission of inquiries amene ankachita kafukufuku wa ndege mu nthawi imene boma la Chakwera linkalamulira. Amhango iwo ati pakafukufuku amene adachitika ndi anthu aku Germany zidaonesa kunena kuti anthu ambiri m'Malawi muno sadalokhutira ndi mmene ripotili linabwerera. Izi zidapangisa kuti anthu ochuluka apemphe boma limene likulamulira pakadali pano la Profesa Arthur Peter Mutharika kuti akhazikisenso commission of inquiry kuti afufuze bwino mmene ngoziyi idachitikira. Iwo ati pakafukufuku wa ndege amene adachitika kumayambiriro pali zinthu zina zimene zinachitika koma mu ripoti yokhuza ndegeyi sizinaperekedwe ku mtundu wa Malawi. Mwachisanzo, Commission of Inquiry sinafufuze bwino pa zimene nduna zina za boma zinkachita ku maliro a Kasambala komanso mu nkhani yokhuza ku ndege kuti kodi mu ndege munkachitika chani mpaka zimene zinachititsa kuti ndegeyi igwe. Kuonjezerapo ndi zimene anthu ena anaziona ndi maso ndi maso pokhuzana ndi ndegeyi, ponaona kuti pali anthu ena amene amafotokoza kuti ndegeyi adayiona itayima mwamba kwa 10 minutes pamene ena amati kumene kunakwera ndegeyi itagwa ankamvako saundi yokhuza mifuti, koma mu commission of inquiry imeneyi zimenezi sizinabweresedwe poyera. Otoneratu tiye tikhale limodzi pamene tikumva zimene yankhula nduna ya chilungamo cha ziko la Malawi a Saulos.
If you may permit me to refer to the report which I submitted to His Excellency the President, as well as to refresh my memory on what I said in Parliament when I was asked. I should say, Honorable Chairperson and all members, that I am not a witness of facts, in that I may not say in my capacity as Minister of Justice that I saw this happen or I witnessed this. I'm not that kind of witness. I believe I'm a witness who's come to set the stage to advise this committee on what informed His Excellency the President to impanel or indeed request the August House or Parliament to go into this inquiry that your committee is doing from this morning. I believe that's the purpose that I am here, and if that is my understanding, Honorable Chairperson and members, with your permission, I may not have to go word for word in what I said, but with your permission, I may have to go and summarize my findings and what informed my findings to advise Excellency the President on the way forward, whether or not to reopen the inquiry into the plane crash which killed the former Vice President, late Right Honorable Saulos Klaus Chilima, and 8 others at Ntungwa in Chikangawa on 10th June 2024. Let me confirm to this committee, Honorable Chairperson and Honorable members, that I reviewed the 3 main reports into the crash which happened on 10th June 2024. Let me also at the outset mention the fact that I was informed when I was reviewing the 3 reports that there were other reports and other documentation or material which were not made available to me. For example, I can cite 2 of the materials that I was informed. I was informed that there was a report which was confidential by the MDF board. I was also informed that there was another report by the Civil Aviation let me state to this committee, Honorable Chairperson and Honorable members, that these two reports were not made privy to me. I was also made aware when I was going through the report of the Commission of the Inquiry set up by the former President, His Excellency Dr. Lazarus McCarthy Chakwera. In that report, I read that the witnesses who testified, some of them brought other materials. Those materials, I'm not privy to them. So my findings and my analysis concentrated on 3 reports, and these reports are: number 1, the interim report issued by what was called the BFU. BFU is a German organization called Bundesstelle für Verramtestung. That's German. Let me say that I'm not very good in German, so my pronunciation may not be the best pronunciation. Therefore, I'll just refer it to as the BFU. But let me say that I speak a little bit of German. The second report, Honorable Chairperson, was the report of the Commission of Inquiry, Presidential Commission of Inquiry, set up by His Excellency, the former President, His Excellency Dr. Lazarus McCarthy Chakwera. I also reviewed that report extensively. Finally, Honorable Chair, I also did review the final report of the BFU. For purposes of factual background, I thought necessary, Chairperson, that I should give a little bit of a detail of my findings of that report. Chairperson, with your permission.
You may proceed, Honorable Minister.
Thank you very much. Chairperson and honorable members, I had a detailed reading and analysis of the report of the Commission of Inquiry. For purposes of consistency, let me mention the fact that the Commission of Inquiry was set up by the former President, His Excellency Dr. Lazarus McCarthy Chakwera, 4 months after the accident. The Commission of Inquiry, His Excellency the former President, gave the Commission of Inquiry a period of 30 days within which to issue its report. Let me mention that my reading of the Commission of the Inquiry report shows that the Commission asked for extra time because they didn't have the time within 30 days to complete their investigations. The Commission was appointed to do the following things. These were the terms of reference. I want to have this in details for obvious reasons, because one of my findings was that the terms of reference given to the Commission were unduly narrow. So because of that, I thought the Chairperson, with your permission, if I could just read the terms of reference which were given to the Commission that time. The Commission was appointed to do the following things: conduct a thorough investigation into the circumstances prior to, during, and after the aircraft accident, from the time it departed from Kamuzu International Airport until it was discovered on 11th June 2024. My understanding of this opening statement is that the commission is being tasked to inquire into what happened prior to the flight, during the flight, and after the flight, but limited to the time that it departed Kia to the time it was discovered. That's my understanding. Don't go beyond what happened earlier than the time it departed. And it says specifically inquire into the following. A, an inquiry into the manner and procedure of procuring the use of the aircraft. B, or 2, the state and performance of the aircraft the previous day and on the day of the aircraft accident, the status, condition, experience, and capacity of the crew operating the aircraft. 3, the aviation protocols followed at the point of departure and expected destination. 5, any communication between the passengers on board the aircraft and any persons on the ground during the flight. 5, notification of the missing aircraft when the Air Force was informed and the course and order of events taken in response. 6, escalation of the notification of the missing aircraft to His Excellency the President, what was communicated to the President, and what directives the President gave. 7, the search and rescue efforts from commencement through the area of focus, the point of discovering the wreckage of the aircraft on 11th June 2024. 8, consider, determine, and inquire into all aspects surrounding the death of the late Vice President and 8 others, including but not limited to establishing the cause of death for all persons on board the aircraft and the survivability of the accident. 9, consider, determine, and inquire into the circumstances and order of events to every extent possible, the events and the role and activities of various individuals between 10th and 11th June 2024, and make such inquiry and such findings and recommendations as are incidental and connected with the aircraft accident on 10th June 2024. Having analyzed the evidence that was received and how the Commission dealt with the evidence, I came to the following conclusions and findings. Just a moment, Honorable Chair. I just want to go to my findings.
You can take your time.
Yes, please. Let me start from the following findings. Honorable Chair and members, my reading of the and analysis of the Commission's report shows that the Commission began with the events leading to the aircraft accident from the funeral of late Raf Kasambara, a renowned private practice lawyer and former Minister of Justice and Attorney General, who passed on away on 7th June 2024 in Lilongwe. The Commission provided details of why and how the government was involved in the funeral of Mr. Raf Kasambara, SC deceased, including the protocols followed to procure the Donia aircraft to transport the remains of late Raf Kasambara, SC, from Blantyre to Mzuzu on 9th June 2024. The Commission also had evidence of how the late Vice President was delegated to represent the President at the funeral of late Mr. Raf Kasambara, SC. On this particular point, the Commission had and considered evidence of how Honorable Richard Chimwendo Banda ended up not representing the President at the funeral of late Mr. Raf Kasambara, SC, and how Honorable Chimwendo Banda failed to board the aircraft on 10th June 2024. The Commission had and considered the evidence about the journey of the Donia from Kamuzu International Airport to Mzuzu. The Commission had evidence that the aircraft was scheduled to depart from Kia to Mzuzu at 9 hours with an estimated flying time of 45 minutes, but that instead the aircraft had departed at 17 minutes past 9 that morning. The Commission also had evidence that upon takeoff, the aircraft was cleared to climb to 9,000 feet above sea level, but that upon reaching 7,000 feet, the pilots requested to maintain the altitude of about 7,000 feet because of en route weather, according to the report of the Commission of Inquiry. The Commission had evidence that because of the low altitude, mobile phones were able to connect with their respective telecommunication networks, towers on the ground at different points during the flight. This enabled some passengers in the aircraft to establish data communication with people on the ground at certain times during the flight. In turn, this also allowed tracking of the movement and the route of the aircraft from Kia on its way to Mzuzu Airport. You can see that those particulars at pages 25 and up to 73 of the report of the Commission of Inquiry. The Commission had that evidence and considered the interim report by the BFU and determined that at some point the aircraft made a full circle orbit before performing two more full 360 degrees turns while descending between 500 feet and 200 feet above ground level, AGL. See pages 78 of the Commission of Report. However, upon considering the evidence received from witnesses and upon considering other reports on the air crash, the Commission inferred that the maneuvers performed by the crew were not a result of any emergency. The Commission had the view that these maneuvers, and I'm quoting, these maneuvers were performed by the flight crew to stay away and out of instruments meteorological conditions, IMC, in order to continue the flight under visual meteorological conditions, VMC. That would facilitate a visual approach and subsequent landing at the destination aerodrome. You can see that, Honorable Chair, at page 79 of the report of the Commission of Inquiry. The Commission also observed that if the aircraft had continued to fly at altitude of 7,000 feet, it would have arrived over Mzuzu approach area above the layer of overcast clouds, which could have rendered a descent into Mzuzu difficult, considering that there was no instrument and approach aids at Mzuzu Airport. The Commission further observed that at the point of impact, the landing gear of the aircraft was down and the flap selection was at position 1. The Commission was unable to conclude why the crew configured their aircraft in this manner when they did not have the destination aerodrome in sight. Mind you, they were they were supposed to use the visual approach. Yet, at the time of impact, the commission is saying the landing gear of the aircraft was down. Yet they had no visual of the destination aircraft. You can see this at page 79 of the Commission of Inquiry report. Yet the commission had earlier on found that at the time the crew spoke with the Mzuzu control tower at about 12 minutes past 10 to inform them about the approach to Mzuzu, there was no indication from the crew that the aircraft had developed problems or any fault. There was also no indication that the pilots were under any stress, pressure, or anxiety. Mind you, Honorable Chair and the Honorable Members, by 10 minutes, 2 minutes or 12 minutes past 10, the aircraft had performed very strange maneuvers. Yet, when they are speaking last to the tower in Mzuzu, the Commission of Report accepts the position that they were not under stress, there was no pressure, and there was no anxiety from the pilots. More particularly, the Commission heard the testimony of Mr. Moyo from Mzuzu Airport Tower that at 12 minutes past 10, the aircraft had established radio communication with Mzuzu Airport Tower. And the crew informed Mr. Moyo that they were 20 nautical miles, about 37 kilometers north of Mzuzu Airport. It was also the evidence of Mr. Moyo that the pilot on the radio responded that they would go and then come through Ekwendeni. You can see page 27 of the Commission of Report Inquiry, or Commission of Inquiry report. The above matters are not consistent in my view with the finding of the Commission at the time the crew spoke with the Mzuzu Tower at 12 minutes past 10 to inform them about the approach to Mzuzu Airport. There was no indication from the crew that the aircraft had developed a problem or a fault, and there was no indication that the pilots were under any stress or anxiety. Clear in my mind, when the pilots had performed these strange maneuvers, in my opinion, they should have expressed concern to when they established contact with the Mzuzu Tower at 12 minutes past 10. But according to the Commission report, they were very calm, as if nothing has happened. Furthermore, the Commission had evidence of 2 communications via WhatsApp and Telegram between the passengers in the aircraft during the flight, including the reported text message from late Inspector Chimaneni to Mrs. Winnie Nyondo at about 10 minutes past 10. Mark the time, 10 minutes past 10, which text message said, and I quote, "Too much turbulence." You can see that, Honorable Chair, at page 74 of the report of the Commission of Inquiry. Again, Honorable Chair and members, reflect back on what I said on the PFU, that the strange maneuvers start from around 10:09:50 to around 10:15 or 10:12 that morning. And mind you, the landing gear by 10:12 or 10:16, the landing gear is on down. And Mr. Late Chimaneni is texting Winnie Nyondo at 10 minutes past 10. This is 6 minutes before impact, and it only says too much turbulence on this flight. Maybe it's the passenger, he doesn't know what's happening. The above evidence is not consistent, in my opinion, Honorable Chair and members, with the finding by the Commission of Inquiry that there was no indication that the pilot was under any stress or anxiety. The Commission should have further interrogated the above inconsistencies in the evidence, which showed that the crew did not declare an emergency at 12 minutes past 10 hours when they contacted Mzuzu Airport. and after performing very strange maneuvers where the aircraft was in some places climbing up and in other places descending down, yet it was several miles away from the destination airport at Mzuzu, and at the same time, the crew had already lowered the landing gear of the aircraft and put the flap selection to position 1, even before having sight of the destination aircraft. You can verify that in the report at page 79 of the Commission of Inquiry report. It appears that the Commission never considered these matters worth of any further investigations. It should also be noted that the President had delegated the late Vice President to represent the President at the funeral of late Kasambara SC in Katabe on 10th June 2024. Let me take that again, Honorable Chair. This committee should note that His Excellency the former President, Dr. Razas Makathe Chakwera, had delegated the Vice President, late Dr. Saulos Klaus Chilima, to represent the President at the funeral of late Laf Kasambara in Katabe on 10th June 2024. This was acknowledged by the Commission of Inquiry at page 15 of the report. It should be further noted that the aircraft was given a take-off clearance from runway 14 at Kia, and it was airborne at 17 minutes past 9. And the estimated time of arrival at Mzuzu Airport was at 2 minutes past 10. Mark those times. The aircraft was cleared to take off around, and it took off around 17 minutes past 9. And it was estimated to arrive at Mzuzu Airport at 2 minutes past 10. And it is carrying the Vice President of the country who is going to represent the President of the country at the funeral of Raf Kasambara in Nkatabe, not in Mzuzu, in Nkatabe. It was also evidence of Mr. Moyo that he had last spoken to the crew at 12 minutes past 10, when the aircraft established radio communication or contact with Mzuzu Airport. You can verify that at page 27 of the Commission of Inquiry report. Yet, according to the information before the Commission of Inquiry, the funeral ceremony of late Raf Kasambara in Nkatabe started at 10 o'clock. And those present were actually told that the late Vice President had been delayed. I want to repeat that one, Honorable Chair and Honorable Members. This aircraft is carrying the late Vice President, who has been delegated by the State President to represent him at the funeral of late Kasambara in Nkatabe, not in Mzuzu. It is scheduled to arrive in Mzuzu at 2 minutes past 10. In my opinion, Nkatabe and Mzuzu are about 45 kilometers apart. Therefore, the Vice President was supposed to be driven from Mzuzu to Nkatabe for at least 30 minutes, which means he should have, was expected in Mzuzu, in Nkatabe rather, at around 11:15, not earlier than that. Yet, the Commission of Inquiry states that the funeral ceremony of Raf Kasambara is starting at 10 o'clock. Why? Because the people present there are told that the Vice President has been delayed. However, how could anyone have announced that the Vice President was delayed at 10 o'clock in Nkatabe when the Vice President's arrival in Mzuzu was at 2 minutes past 10? And he was supposed to drive from Mzuzu to Nkatabe for at least 45 minutes. But somebody at the funeral announces at 10 o'clock that the Vice President has been delayed. Let's start the funeral ceremony. And the Vice President was supposed to be driven from Mzuzu to Nkatabe for at least some 35 minutes. The Vice President's arrival time at Nkatabe should have been 11 o'clock, not earlier than that day. Yet an announcement was made at 10 o'clock that the Vice President had been delayed even before the aircraft had crashed at 16 minutes past 10. If you go to the BFU report, Honorable Chair and Honorable Members, the aircraft is impacting the ground at 16 minutes past 10. At 12 minutes past 10, the pilots or the crew established their last contact with Mr. Moyo at Mzuzu. Yet, at 10 o'clock in Katabe, some official announces to the mourners there that the Vice President has been delayed. Let's start the funeral ceremony. And it started. This is coming from the Commission of Inquiry report. The Commission did not interrogate who had authorized the funeral service of late Raf Kasambara to start at 10 o'clock without the late Vice President, who had been delegated by the President and who was scheduled to arrive in Mzuzu at 2 minutes past 10. Furthermore, who advised the funeral gathering at 10 o'clock that the late Vice President had been delayed. Yet the late Vice President was scheduled to land at Mzuzu Airport at 2 minutes past 10. On the probable cause of the accident, the Commission stated that from the evidence before the Commission, the aircraft accidents are attributable. That's now general. It says aircraft accidents are generally attributable to 3 factors. 1, human factor. 2, environmental factors, including weather, and technical factors. This was merely a theoretical assessment of the aircraft accidents generally, not this particular accident. But that was the conclusion of the Commission of Inquiry, that it was either human factor, environmental factor, or technical factors. Because generally, aircraft have accidents on the basis of those 3 factors. Ultimately, the Commission concluded that the probable cause of the accident was a combination of environmental factors and human factors. Honorable Chair and members, you can see that at page 80 of the Commission of Inquiry report. It is clear that the Commission reached the above conclusions based on probabilities rather than cogent facts. It should be noted that while the Commission had taken note of the interim report by the BFU and its content, the Commission did not allude to the fact that at the time of publication of the interim report, BFU had not yet received the expert opinion from the German meteorological services provider, which BFU had asked to compile meteorological expert opinion concerning the weather conditions along the flight path and in particular in the area of the accident site. Furthermore, the interim report by the BFU did not make any findings as to the cause of the aircraft accident. More particularly, the interim report by the BFU did not attribute the aircraft accident to bad weather. Yet the Commission of Inquiry attributes it to weather and human error. On the activation of the search and rescue, the Commission had evidence that the search and rescue was activated at 17 minutes past 1, which was exactly 4 hours from the time the aircraft had departed gear. The search and rescue mission was activated at 17 minutes past 1, which is 4 hours after the flight, which was scheduled to fly for 45 minutes and land at 2 minutes past 10 had departed gear. That's when you activate search and rescue mission. Where do you expect this airplane to be 4 hours after? The Commission established that Malawi Air Force was notified of the missing aircraft almost immediately the aircraft could not be contacted via radio, and that the acting Air Force Commander, Brigadier General Robre Ishmael, contacted the MDF commander and informed him of this information immediately. So the moment the MDF had no contact of their aircraft, it was escalated with the MDF ranks. However, the search and rescue mission is only activated 4 hours later. Notwithstanding the above evidence, the commission found that the MDF commander alerted the president at 11:35 hours that the vice president had gone to Mzuzu in the aircraft and that there was bad weather in Mzuzu. This was at 11:35 when the MDF commander contacted the president and informed him that the vice president has gone to Mzuzu, but that there's bad weather in Mzuzu. The commission further found that the president had understood the communication from the MDF commander as an alert to the effect that the aircraft was failing to land in Mzuzu due to bad weather and may be on its way back to Kiev. So it would appear the commission is saying the president was informed by MDF commander that the plane is failing to land in Mzuzu, and in his imagination the president understood that message to mean that the aircraft was flying back from Mzuzu back to Lilongwe because of bad weather, and this was at 11:35 hours. It appears that the commission's findings that the probable cause of the accident was bad weather and human factor was motivated by the above communication between the MDF commander and the president. That's my opinion. My opinion that the commission is insisting that the probable cause of the accident is bad weather, because the MDF commander at 11:35 is informing the president that the aircraft is failing to land because of bad weather, and the president thinks that it's coming back to Lilongwe. On the suspension of the search, the commission received evidence that the search and rescue mission on 10th June 2024 was very disjointed due to various factors, including lack of systemic and strategic approach to the search in Chikangawa forest, and lack of knowledge of what to do and where to start the search. The commission had evidence that at 22 hours on 10th June 2024, the Commissioner of Police North consulted other stakeholders and decided tactical pause in the search of the aircraft. The commission did not ask further questions as to the rationale for this called tactical pause in the search of the aircraft, which had carried the vice president of the country. At 10 o'clock in the night, there is what is called a tactical pause in the search and rescue. On the discovery of the aircraft wreckage on 11th June 2024, the commission heard that at around 9 o'clock, a team of the Air Force, including Colonel Mukokwe, arrived in Chikangawa to join the search. A team of senior police officers, including Commander of Police or Commissioner of Police Atkins Mwanga, the head of operations at the National Police Headquarters, Deputy Commissioners of Police Mr. Mtia Mitai, Assistant Commissioner of Police Alex Simenti, the officer in charge, Airport Police, decided to undertake supervision of the search teams. The police team was joined by the MDF team led by Second Lieutenant Odedi Mwenewanda, a platoon commander based at Kasitu camp. The commission heard that the first persons at the accident site were 4 senior police officers of the Malawi Police Service, 4 MDF soldiers, 2 sawyers, those who are cutting planks, 2 officers from Mtungwa Forest Office, and 2 unidentified persons. The Commission did not identify the names of the first persons at the search site. It is strange that the Commission accepted evidence which merely said that the first persons at the crash site were 4 senior police officers without identifying the names, 4 MDF soldiers without identifying the names, 2 sawyers without identifying the names, and 2 unidentified persons without identifying the names. The Commission was not transparent regarding the identities of individuals who first saw the wreckage. The Commission should have made every effort, in my opinion, to ascertain and disclose the names of the first persons to be at this crash site. It is therefore concerning, in my opinion, that individuals whose identities remain unknown to date were the ones who first saw the aircraft wreckage and dead bodies of the passengers and crew, including the late Vice President. It is also particularly concerning that the Commission merely stated that 2 sawyers and 2 unidentified persons to have been part of the first persons present at the accident site. Additionally, the Commission had evidence of gunshots in proximity to the crash site, but the Commission did not conduct any further interrogations as to the truth of these gunshots. On this point, it is clear that the Commission failed to conduct a rigorous investigation to determine whether these reported gunshots actually occurred or didn't occur. The issue is significant and must be further investigated. Furthermore, the Commission seems to have accepted the evidence of Colonel Kandulu and Colonel Mugdokwe regarding the plane not catching fire upon impact as an absolute truth. The Commission based its findings and conclusions on such testimonies. The Commission did not interrogate further the fact that the aircraft had fuel for about 4 hours and that at the time of impact, yet there is no evidence of the aircraft catching fire on impact or any spillage of jet fuel to the crash site, as if the fuel tanks were empty. These matters need further interrogations. The explanation accepted by the Commission that the plane's high wings prevented the ignition is not convincing without further interrogation of this particular aspect in the report. The above analysis of the report of the Commission of Inquiry shows that the Commission of Inquiry was constrained in its scope of inquiry by the narrow terms of reference. As such, the report lacks necessary depth in the interrogation of certain aspects of the plane crash, and further, the report contains various inconsistencies, in my opinion, which must be reconciled. The above factors, therefore, justify further inquiry to be conducted by this committee into this plane crash that killed the late Vice President of Malawi and 8 others on 10th June 2024. With a wider scope and other possible connected issues, like the relationship between the late Ralph Kasambara SC and the circumstances of his death, of late Ralph Kasambara SC and the death of late Vice President, both of whom died within a space of 72 hours back to back in mysterious circumstances. It is also important to note that prior to the aircraft accident involving the military plane crash, a military plane herein, the late Vice President had been discharged from a corruption case in the Financial Crimes Court in which the MDF had vehemently resisted to release certain documents to the late Vice President on the grounds that the documents sought by the Vice President to be released were sensitive documents bordering on national security. I thought this is a matter which this committee should also be aware of. And this plane belongs to MDF. The same MDF which was resisting to release evidence in the corruption case of late Saulos Chilima. It may be important to expand the scope of any further inquiry to the corruption case against the late Vice President and any possible connections to the documents which the MDF resisted to release to the late Vice President in connection with this aircraft accident. In view of the above analysis, the report of the Commission of Inquiry, in my opinion, was not conclusive on its inquiry into the aircraft accident involving the Malawi Air Force Donia 228, which crashed at Ntungwa in Kadabe on 10th June 2024. Honorable Chairperson and honorable members, I also did analyze the final report of the BFU. I can summarize this one in very brief because of my findings, Honorable Chairperson, without going details of the facts. Honorable Chairperson, in my analysis of the final BFU report, it concluded without receiving the meteorological report which they had requested from the German meteorological service provider. However, it accepted the evidence in the Commission of Inquiry report, which relied on the evidence of the people on the ground in Muzuzu and Chikangawa that the weather was bad on the flight path. And the PFU therefore concluded that the aircraft accident was attributable to bad weather. You may recall, Honorable Chairperson and members, that in my findings of the analysis of the interim BFU report and the Commission of Inquiry report, I found the two reports to be wanting. However, the final BFU report relies heavily, in my opinion, on the findings and the evidence accepted by the Commission of Inquiry for it to conclude its findings, instead of relying on the technical aspects of the flight, including the weather report from the German Meteorological Service, which they never read. By the time of the publication of the final report, the BFU had not received the German Meteorological report. For these reasons, Honorable Chairperson, I made the following recommendations to His Excellency, the State President. I did recommend as Minister of Justice and Constitutional Affairs to the President, His Excellency the President, Professor Peter Mutharika, that if the President accepts my opinion and it pleases him, he may wish to exercise his powers under Section 2(1) of the Commission of Inquiry Report, Act of the Laws of Malawi, to appoint a fresh inquiry into the aircraft accident involving the Malawi Air Force Donia 228 on 10th June 2024. I further recommended to His Excellency that the terms of reference for the fresh Commission of Inquiry may be widened to include other aspects which I noted, including conduct a thorough investigation into the circumstances leading to the aircraft accident at Ntungwa, in Chikangawa, in Katabe, and the death of late Vice President and 8 others on 10th June 2024. Conduct a thorough investigation into the circumstances leading to the arrest of late Vice President and his subsequent discharge from his corruption case, which involved the MDF, and identify any linkages to the aircraft accident on 10th June 2024. conduct a thorough investigation into the procurement of the Dornier aircraft to carry the late Vice President and 8 others on 10th June 2024. Conduct a thorough investigation into the circumstances leading to the death of Raf Kasambara on 7th June 2024 and identify any linkages to the death of late Vice President, if any, and 8 others on 10th June 2024. Conduct a thorough investigation into the procurement of the Dornier to carry the remains of late Raf Kasambara, SC, from Blantyre to Mzuzu on 9th June 2024, and how the aircraft was handled after carrying the remains of late Raf Kasambara on 9th June, prior to carrying the late Vice President and 8 others on 10th June 2024. Those were the recommendations which I made to His Excellency the President. And when the Parliament was sitting, Honorable Chair and Honorable Members, when I answered the question under Order 69 of the your standing orders, I did summarize these findings to the August House, in which I informed your August House Parliament that His Excellency had decided that instead of a presidential inquiry, it must be a parliamentary inquiry. Hence, leading to your committee, ad hoc committee this morning, which is starting the inquiry this morning. I thank